Retired Colonel Clifford Worthy's new autobiography is titled The Black Knight, an African-American family's journey from West Point, a life of duty, honor, and country. His last name probably sounds familiar because he is the father of Wayne County Prosecutor Kym Worthy. Recently, I sat down with father and daughter to talk about Clifford's story of challenge, opportunity, and growth. Talk about how important that was, that the decision to go to West Point and the ability to get in, which wasn't always available to African Americans.
That was just, it was almost like get the opportunity to go that was thrust on me. Before that time, I had no plans about West Point. I didn't even know anything about the Army. I have no military background, and family military background. But I met a young man at Old Main, that was before it became Wayne State, it was called Wayne, just Wayne University, who came and still had his uniform on.
Cliff Worthy wanted to go to medical school until that young man told him about West Point. But in 1946, African Americans couldn't go there, not until President Harry Truman desegregated the armed forces a couple years later. Congressman John Dingell Sr. offered Cliff continued support.
He wouldn't let go until for 3 years, until he got me in. And on July 1st of 1949, I entered West Point. And you knew right from the beginning that I belonged to West Point.
That was almost 70 years ago.
Yeah. Well, here's one right here that shows a picture of me as a senior cadet.
That's as a senior. Wow, it's amazing how young you were up there, right?
I didn't have any feeling of being oppressed in any way at that time, because it's just a madhouse when you go there. Upperclassmen are yelling at you, and you got to get your clothing. You got 1,000 things you got to do. So I went through that process, and I can honestly say, for 4 years that I was there, I never really felt that I was being discriminated against, except in one area, and that was housing. When you got there, they put you in companies based on height primarily. And so they wanted to keep, for parade purposes, they wanted to look good by all the cadets being the same height. Well, except for the black cadets. We were forced to live together, even though one of my classmates was about 4 inches shorter than myself and the other one. And so as a result, he had to make certain adjustments to his walk, the way he walked, the long stride. He was put into the middle of the formation to hide him. But other than that, I felt felt that discriminated against.
Again, this theme that comes up again and again in the book and throughout your life of this, dealing with challenge, dealing with the kind of unexpected.
Well, Vietnam was full of the unexpected things that you read about all the time, about the fact that you're fighting an enemy that you can't see, don't know because they look like regular civilians. The isolation of being, I was not artillery, but field artillery battalion commander, which consisted of 3 firing batteries, and those are the war part of that battalion. And they would be spread all over the northern part of South Vietnam, and so you had to maintain contact with them, and they would be miles apart. And they had to operate almost autonomously at times because of the time and distance factors. And so that was a real challenge with it. And the challenge of the kind of fight you were fighting.
For Kym, having a father in the military meant a different kind of challenge, being constantly on the move.
When you're growing up, you don't really know that it's not normal. I mean, you feel it's not normal for you to move every year, and you have to get to know a whole new set of classmates, a whole new school, set of teachers, everything. You really don't get the chance to participate in different things because you know you're going to be leaving the next year. But for me, it was normal. But I think it did, though. I think it made me able later on, as I was approaching adulthood, be able to adapt to different situations pretty easily and readily.
So you talk a lot in the book about the challenges of raising children. What are the things that stand out for you in terms of what those challenges taught you?
Well, of course, with Mark, my son, that was a big challenge. He was diagnosed as a special needs youngster. Back in those days, and even today, resources are very thin about what to help kids like that and families like that. because some of the resources that we dealt with, it was a family affair. You know, they wanted to make sure that the families were all involved. In fact, the kids had to go to the sessions along with the parents. Kym was always had a mind of her own.
Doesn't everybody? Isn't everybody supposed to?
He was a bit higher degree than most. I remember when she was 15, and she wanted to take driver's ed so she could drive.
I thought this was about you.
Well, he asked you questions too.
I didn't write a book. Go ahead.
Anyway, she wanted to get driver's ed. Well, when you were 16, you didn't have to pay for it, but when you were 15, you had to pay for it. Plus, I didn't really want her driving at 15 anyway. So I said, no, put my foot down. No, I'm not going to allow it. In Kym's mind, I'm sure it was said, fine, I'll take care of it. So the very next day, she had a job at McDonald's and she paid for it. So that's typical of.
I came home with a driver's license.
What's the message that you think resonates about this story in 2019?
Kids want to succeed no matter what their background, race, whatever. It's just that accessibility, and one of the points I wanted to make in the book is that you never know when you're going to have an opportunity to do something. Seize it.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, and make the most of it, realizing it's not going to be perfect, realizing that some of the people you're going to deal with are not good people. Mm-hmm. But then there are some good people, because I can think of many examples, and they're all featured in the book. About how people have helped me along the way.
And it gets back to what you were talking about character.
Yeah.
The
really, if you don't have any
fortitude,
character, it's going to be very difficult for you in this life, or it will lead you down the wrong path. And I think that's what comes from some of the strong institutions of today, whether it's a military institution or another institution. If they can instill dignity and character and kindness and compassion, if you can instill all that into your children in generation to generation, we really will be better at some point.